If I asked you what's holding back your community or your startup or your ecosystem, you'd probably say money. Not enough funding, not enough investors, not enough grants. And you'd be wrong. Or at least you'd be asking the wrong question. Look, capital scarcity is real, especially in underinvested communities, especially for early stage companies. I'm not dismissing that. But after 50 plus conversations on this show, the pattern I see isn't that the successful ones raise the most money. It's that the ones building durable growth that had capital that was designed differently. Not more money, better design money. And that distinction changes everything. Last time I talked about how the bottleneck is never the technology. This time I want to go deeper into one specific system where that's true, and that's capital. I had a conversation with Brian Weinberg on this show that I haven't stopped thinking about. Brian's career is basically a map of how our thinking about capital has evolved and where it still needs to go. He started where most people start, which is on Wall Street. The assumption was simple. Capital's job is to generate returns. You deploy money, you maximize profit, you measure success in quarters. That's how capitalism works. It's not a villain story. That's the default. Almost everyone in this audience operates inside that model without questioning it. Then Brian went to South America and he saw poverty up close. Not the kind you read about, but the kind you can't look away from. And something broke in the model. The results and the returns were real. The outcomes were wrong. Capital was designed to serve the investor, not the place it touched. So he moved into microfinance and then impact investing. These are real redesigns, real attempts to make capital serve broader outcomes, and they work to a point. But Brian kept seeing the same limitation. The capital still originated outside the community, and the accountability still flowed upward to the investor, not outward to the people it was supposed to serve. The design was better, but the governance was still wrong. So now Brian is doing place-based regeneration in Kansas City's Blue River Valley. Capital design for generational timelines. Governance that centers the community, a circular economy as an infrastructure model. This isn't impact investing with better marketing. It's a fundamentally different design where the capital is accountable to the place, not just to the portfolio. Capital doesn't have one nature. It has a design, and the design is a choice. So if capital design is a choice, what does a good choice actually produce? So let's look at the conversation that I had with Brandon Calloway. So Brandon Calloway runs an initiative called KC GIFT. And what they built is one of the best examples I've seen of what it looks like when someone takes capital design seriously. KC GIFT isn't chasing the biggest check or the flashiest announcement. They have a specific design parameters. That's businesses that are 51% Black owned, operating in target geographies with at least 3 months of revenue and a clear growth plan. That's intake design. But here's what makes it work. It's what happens after the money arrives, right? It's, a full year of bookkeeping support, coaching, marketing assistance, quarterly reporting. Capital doesn't arrive alone. It arrives inside of a system. And the money is the catalyst. The wraparound infrastructure is actually the product. So Brandon has roughly $2 million deployed into 79 businesses. 153 new jobs created, approximately 209% average revenue growth in year after year funding. Those aren't impact metrics dressed up to sound good. Those are business outcomes. The check wasn't the innovation. The system around the check was. So Brian gave us the vision and Brandon gave us the proof. So now let's talk about Eric Murray again. Because Eric Murray gives us the warning. Eric has watched capital flow into East Side communities across the country, Kansas City to Oakland and beyond. Billions of dollars, good intentions. And he's watched those same communities get invested in without benefiting. Deals that fell apart, projects that collapsed, capital partners who said the right things and then made decisions that served the portfolio, not the neighborhood. The money arrived without community governance, without long-term accountability, without alignment between what the capital was designed to produce and what the capital actually needed, and what the community actually needed. Eric's no asshole rule, which I've talked about before, it's not a personality filter, it's a capital design principle. He's saying if the governance layer is wrong, if the people controlling the money don't share the values of the place the money is going, then the outcomes will be extraction. No matter what the pitch deck says, capital without governance is extraction, even when the intentions are good. So here's kind of where it all comes together. So you've got 3 design variables that matter more than the amount of capital. The first one, governance. Who makes decisions when the capital is deployed? Who has accountability when it doesn't work? Brian learned through his career, every chapter of his career, Eric's no asshole rule is a governance principle. If the governance points upward to the investor instead of outward to the community, the capital will serve the investor's timeline, not the community's needs. 2, timeline. Is the capital designed for quarterly returns or generational outcomes? Those 2 structures produce fundamentally different behaviors. Short-term timeline capital optimizes for exit. Long timeline capital optimizes for durability. So Brian's move from Wall Street to place-based regeneration is a move from one timeline to another. Brandon's model works because it measures outcomes over a year, not a quarter. And so 3, the third thing is wraparound infrastructure. Does the capital arrive alone, or does it arrive inside a system of support, of accountability, and learning? Brandon's entire model is built on this insight. Money without infrastructure is just a transfer. Money inside a system of bookkeeping, coaching, reporting, marketing support, that's capital design. The check isn't the product, the system is. Governance, timeline, wraparound, that's it. 3 variables, and almost nobody designs for all 3. So what does this mean for you? If you're a founder, the next time someone offers you capital, don't just evaluate the amount. Ask what the governance looks like. Ask what timeline the money operates on. Ask what support comes with it. If the answer is just the money, that tells you something about the design. If you're an ecosystem builder or a civic leader, someone who's designing something bigger, more comprehensive, your city doesn't need another fund announcement. It needs capital infrastructure that matches the maturity and the values of your community. More money flowing through badly designed structures will produce the same outcomes we've already seen. And if you're an investor, corporate or impact, your external investments are only as good as the governance and support model you wrap around them. If you're measuring success by dollars deployed instead of by the design of how those dollars work, then you're measuring the wrong thing. So last time, I said the bottleneck is never the technology. This time, I'll go a step further. The bottleneck is often the capital, but not because there isn't enough, because it wasn't designed. And the people who are actually building something durable in neighborhoods, in startups, in ecosystems, they figured that out. They stopped asking for more money and started redesigning how money works.